here we go. And here we go on the Skip Bayless Show, brought to you by Fanduel, America's #1 sports book. I believe we just watched the NBA Finals. Oklahoma City over Denver in 7. And by the way, quick note, Ernestine wanted me to try wearing these glasses today. And I said, okay, because I can see clearly now. My Oklahoma City Thunder are going to win this year's NBA championship, as I predicted. I just believe the Thunder will have a little easier time with Ant-Man's Timberwolves, of course, in the conference finals, because as I've said many times, Ant-Man has been overhyped and overrated, mainly because of all the Baby Jordan comparisons. So SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, will outplay Ant-Man as he did 4 times during the regular season. I'll get into that in just a few minutes. Cant-Man even got benched in the fourth quarter of one of those 4 games that Minnesota actually won. Baby Jordan benched in a fourth quarter? I mean, Baby Jordan then called out by his coach this year for lack of effort and energy in game 1 at home against Golden State in these playoffs. Baby Jordan? What? Overrated, I say, of Anthony Edwards. Thunder in 6. Then I believe the Thunder will have an even easier time in the NBA Finals with the Knicks or the Pacers. I'm going to say Thunder in 5 over either of those 2 teams, but I'm now rooting for the Knicks. I'm going to pick the Pacers, but I'm rooting for the Knicks just so I can see the horrified looks on the faces of Stephen A. Smith and Spike Lee as my Thunder run those teams, that team, the Knicks, out of the building. And yeah, you know it. I admit it. I was born and raised in Oklahoma City. I grew up in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house on 43rd Street, playing basketball at recess at Mayfair Grade School on a dirt court with netless rims, never imagining my city would ever even have an NBA team in Oklahoma City. Yeah, look at us now. Heavy favorites to win the NBA championships. Thunder up, baby. Did we ever just send a message to the rest of the NBA, to all the haters and the doubters and the skeptics, the Draymond Greens and the Paul Pierces who said, nobody fears the Thunder? Do you fear us now? Do you hear us now? Do you hear that rolling thunder coming for you and you and you? I'll dig deeper into Thunder Timberwolves in just a few minutes, as well as I'm going to get to this. I'm going to explain myself on why I lost my mind over the Cowboys schedule. I'll get to that. But first up, I'm going to talk about Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook and James Harden, the 3 reasons I tried and failed to love the Thunder when they first went to the finals back in 2012. Not once was I ever able to call that team my Thunder, because I just found Durant and Westbrook and Harden so unlovable. I tried to love them, but I don't think they loved each other very much. And each of those 3 players was so bizarrely flawed for very different reasons. Weird dudes, all 3 of them. Of course, each would go on to win an NBA MVP. Each was going to be obviously a slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer. Yet, honestly, from my heart, as I sit here right now, I just don't have much use for any of the 3 right now. As they've all 3 proven to be exactly who I thought they were back in 2012, I will explain how unlovable those Thunder were and how they did prove me right. So let's start with Kevin Durant. But before I do, hold that thought just for a second, because I need to remind you that if you're thinking about betting a few bucks, think about this. The only place to start is Fanduel, America's #1 sports book. It's the Cowboys, Lakers, Yankees all rolled into one. It is the place to be, the dominant franchise. FanDuel is the place to find all the best player props. You can get the latest stats right inside the app. You can see who's heating up, who's consistently hitting the over, who's flirting with triple doubles. Once the game starts, boy, it really can get interesting because you can combine live prop bets into same game parlays for a chance to win big. So why not give FanDuel a shot today? You can get started with $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So speaking of my Thunder, I'm going to go OKC in game one at home. That's -7.5 points. That's Tuesday night's game one. I'm going to go Oklahoma City to cover. And I'll go Knicks just on momentum to cover as 4-point home favorites in game one. That's on Wednesday night. So why not just visit fanduel.com/skip to join today? You can do it now. That's fanduel.com/skip. Just use my name. And remember, FanDuel is the official sports betting partner of the NBA, the place to be. Now, back to Kevin Durant. For the longest time, starting back when Kevin played his 1 year down in Austin, Texas, at Texas, a school team I've hated because I'm an Oklahoma fan, I became his biggest fan on national TV. Did I ever defend and support Kevin Durant? I just said I've never seen anything quite like this. 7 feet tall, deadly mid-range shooter. So he starts out for Seattle, then Oklahoma City, of course, and he's on the way to being a 50, 40, 90 guy. What an achievement that was about to be in his MVP season. That was in 2014. But, 50% from the field and 40% from three and 90% from the free throw line. It's just hard to do when you're 7 feet tall. This is supremely gifted. And yet, right away, I'm seeing Russell Westbrook is starting to take more shots, this is back in 2012, than Kevin bleeping Durant? What? Russell Westbrook had the audacity to be so selfish, so egomaniacal, so self-absorbed that he started taking more shots than that guy? It just drove me nuts. So I started to talk about it on national TV back in my first take days on a pretty daily basis because they were the up-and-coming hot young team. How can Russell Westbrook, who can't really shoot, take more shots than Kevin bleeping Durant? And then it happened. This was April of 2012 as they're on their way, little did I know, to the NBA Finals. Kevin Durant, before a game one night in Oklahoma City, calls over the Oklahoman beat reporter before the game in the locker room and just went in on me. The quote that obviously stuck deepest in my craw was, "Skip Bayless doesn't know shit about basketball," said Kevin Durant of me, which appeared in the next day's Oklahoman. And I'm like, what? After all I've done to defend and support you? You want to talk about biting the hand that feeds you? Nobody was a bigger supporter of Kevin Durant than I was up to that point. But that was the first time I sat back and said, this is just weird. This is just doesn't get it. Come on. This is no perspective. I understood that he was trying to defend his little brother teammate, but there's a better way to do it than to completely blast me out of the water by saying, I don't know shit about basketball. Yeah, I do. I know some shit about basketball, Kevin. It just really rankled me. Really pissed me off. Remember what was about to happen after he won his MVP 2 years later, 2014. Then the following year at the All-Star game, remember this? The media gathered, I guess it was that Friday, big press conference. And Kevin Durant told the reporters who voted him MVP, you guys don't know shit about basketball. Huh? Come on, man. Just no perspective, no step back wisdom. Just didn't get it. What a weird dude did Kevin Durant turn out to be. So gifted, so weird. But as you know, he finally chose to leave Oklahoma City, leave Russ high and dry, leave him behind, join forces with the Golden State Warriors. Remember that July the 4th? Man, what a bombshell that day brought us. And I dug back in and I defended Kevin for choosing Golden State because I said he's going into his 10th year in the league, 10th year. And as a source very close to Kevin told me, Kevin just finally decided he was never going to win a championship with Russell Westbrook as his primary decision maker, his point guard, because Russ is dribbling it up every single time. Glancing over at Kevin on the wing. I'm open. I'm over here. Can I try? Russ, just kind of thick-headed, just crazy-eyed. See basket, attack basket. Playing 1,000 miles an hour, out of control. Russell Westbrook. And finally, Kevin said, I'm never going to win a championship here. And I defended him and I said, he's right. He'll never win there. And by the way, I'm digging in on this. I just don't think, because of the weirdness of those three players, that Durant, Westbrook, and James Harden, had they stayed together, I don't think they would have ever won a championship. Tell me I'm wrong, but I'm about to back that up. So then it came to Golden State. They had just blown a 3-1 lead to LeBron and Kyrie. And Steph Curry decided, LeBron's in his prime. We're not going to beat him, me and Clay and Draymond, without that dude, without that nuclear weapon that is Kevin Durant. So they got on a team plane, flew all the way across the country to the far side of Long Island, out in the Hamptons, July the 3rd, and they got down on bended knee and talked Kevin Durant into coming to save them from LeBron James. They needed him desperately, but he needed them just as desperately because obviously not only are they all supremely talented, but he needed the comfort zone that would be created for him by Steph, the leader of that team, and Iguodala, the sort of the 1A leader of that team, the veteran leader of that team, and Clay and Draymond, and then especially Steve Kerr and that coaching staff. The bubble that they could put around Kevin Durant that he'd never had before, because Kevin is not a leader. Kevin does not have any leadership intangibles. Kevin has a hard enough time leading Kevin, let alone to try to lead a basketball team. Not a leader, needed that leadership around him, and did he ever get it? But he continued to take shots at me just out of nowhere, out of the blue, and I would be like, what? I don't get it. And I started to call him the thinnest skinned superstar ever. And is he ever? He's just got paper thin skin. The next thing we heard was he's got burner accounts? Kevin bleeping Durant has burner accounts? The MVP needs to hide behind burner accounts to fire back at critics on the internet? What? You're kidding. That is so beneath him. It is so lame. It is so weak. Thinnest skinned superstar ever? Weird dude, Kevin Durant. But did he ever stand up for himself with the weight of the NBA world on those slender shoulders of his in those finals. And what was it, 2017 and 18? My God, did he ever rise up in those 2 game threes in LeBron's house and just take the games over, take the finals over. Obviously, he had lots of help, but he was the MVP. He was the best player on the floor in those 2 finals. Back-to-back championships and finals MVP for Kevin bleepin' Durant. Highly impressed was I that he stood up to that pressure and that expectation and did that to LeBron James. Golden State was not going to beat LeBron without him. They did beat LeBron with him. Kevin needed that leadership, and he got what he wanted. He got back-to-back rings and MVP trophies in the finals, and he became a made man. And I believe after the second finals that he began to lose a little bit of edge, a little bit of hunger, a little bit of drive. But on to Brooklyn he went. As you know, he could have won 3 if he hadn't pulled his calf muscle badly and then torn his Achilles. But after that, on to Brooklyn he goes to team up with Kyrie and James Harden, his old Oklahoma City teammate. He did play that first go-around, one of the great playoff series he ever played. That one against Milwaukee. Remember, toe on the line shot that would have won that game 7. But they lost in overtime. Then the next year, the first time I ever really lost respect for Kevin Durant, he and his team got swept by the young Boston Celtics, coached by Ime Udoka. And in that series, the 4-game sweep, Kevin shot 38.6% from the floor, only 33.3% from 3. In the 4 games, he averaged over 5 turnovers per game. I started on national TV to call him Kevin Durant, after I'd often called him Kevin Durant, because he do rant. You know, he's always ranting about something, mostly about the media coverage. But I lost so much respect because Ime's point was, we're going to go at him. We're going to get physical with him. We're going to rough him up. Dare I say, they intimidated him. They overwhelmed him with physicality. And Kevin didn't really fight back. I was so disappointed in him. On he went to Phoenix, 2023. They did beat the Clippers in 5 in his first playoff series. That was Clippers with no Kawhi, no Paul George, only Russell Westbrook. Ugh. But then once the leader of that Phoenix team, CP3, he was a perfect fit with Book and KD. That was pre-Bradley Beal, obviously. But CP3, you remember game 2 against Denver that year, pulled his hamstring yet again. And down they went to the Nuggets in 6. Then, remember last year's KD team in Phoenix got swept by the Timberwolves in the first round by an average of 14.5 points per game. What? Kevin Durant got swept by 14.5 game? He just played so quietly. Then we roll into this regular season, just passed, and he did play 62 games, put up good numbers. KD-like numbers, 27, 6, and 4, shot 53% from the floor and 43% from 3. But that team this year in Phoenix went 36 and 46, and Bud got fired. Somebody had to go. Kevin's not going to go. Those numbers he put up had very little scoreboard impact. A source I've known for years in the NBA, somebody I trust the most in the NBA, as a guide for some of my thoughts, he texted me and said, Kevin Durant has never been a leader, 36 and 46. So here's a stat you probably don't know. Over the last 4 years, no player No player in the NBA has a worse playoff record than Kevin bleepin' Durant. He's 6-13 in the postseason over the last 4 years. And since he left Golden State in playoff series, Kevin Durant is 2-4 after those 2 finals MVPs. So I tweeted that Kevin looks like he has semi-retired energy. And it made the case that once he won those 2 championships and the 2 MVPs, it just looked like he just likes to hoop. He just goes out and goes through the motions, has a good time, but there's no real urgency to win basketball games anymore for Kevin Durant. So he fired right back at me, took a personal shot at me. That's fine. So I recently reached out to 2 people in his inner circle, and I said, hey, I want Kevin to come on my show, or I'll go on whatever show he does or wherever. I'll meet him face to face for all the world to watch. He can have as much time as he wants to fire at me. I will respond. I got no answer. Either time that I reached out, I got no response. I know I got the ask in. I know the request was made. No response. Kevin's afraid of me. Kevin would never come on here with me because he knows what would happen. I would hold him accountable. I would challenge him, and he does not want to be challenged. Thinnest skinned superstar ever. Weird dude. Love to talk about it, Kevin, anywhere, any place, anytime, but you're afraid. And you won't because you're afraid. I know he's participating as we speak in a big documentary about his life and times. I think I'm not sure where it's going to end up, probably Netflix like all the rest of them. So it just sounds to me like he's winding down his career. Don't you wait to participate in the documentary until you're about done or completely done? So I assume Kevin's going to play next year at age 37 because he's got another year on his contract at, $54 million. But I just highly doubt he's ever going to have LeBron's drive to keep pushing for 3 more years. A lot of talk about could he be traded? Again, 1 more year at 54.7. Does anybody want that? I don't know. Maybe they do. I'm not sure I would. So Kevin Durant is just, he was so gifted, is so gifted, which with just such shaky intangibles. I tried to defend him and support him, and he just ultimately wouldn't let me. But I'm here to tell you, my instincts were right about Kevin Durant from the start, from that 2012 incident in which he said, I don't know shit about basketball. I did, Kevin. That's why you left Oklahoma City, because what I was saying is exactly why you left Oklahoma City. You weren't going to win with Russell Westbrook taking more shots than you, being the primary decision maker in Oklahoma City. But I realized at the time back in 2012 that Kevin Durant was just somebody I just didn't want to root for, especially when that somebody was representing my hometown. Give me a quick second for this. I'd like to welcome Harry's Body Wash as a sponsor for the show. I use Harry's every time I shower. My favorite is the Stone, which is charcoal and lime. It definitely gives me what I consider if you will, like a manly scent. It's not an overwhelming sort of cologne-like scent. It's more subtle and strong. It just makes me feel better about myself, more confident as I move through the day. I just feel a little cleaner, more refreshed. So complete your shower routine every day with richly lathering body wash from Harry's. You can try Harry's body wash right now for just $8 at harrys.com/skip. Yep, use my name /skip. That's harrys.com/skip. If you want to feel and smell as good as I do after you shower. Now for reason number 2, I could never get my arms around the 2012 Thunder, which is actually reason number 1. Russell Westbrook, the slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer, the point guard who could never shoot, the point guard who has the worst hands and commits the wildest turnovers of any point guard ever. I'm not exaggerating, ever. That's why I nicknamed him West Brick back in 2012, and that's why when we showed his almost daily montages of comical turnovers on television, we often put clown music underneath the video packages. Just pure comedy. Sad comedy. Russell Westbrook will be a first ballot Hall of Famer because he won the MVP in 2017 when he did something I thought I'd never see in my lifetime. He averaged a triple-double. Then he proceeded to back it up by averaging triple-doubles in 3 of 4 years. 3 of 4 years he averaged triple-doubles. That included that first year he went to Washington. He averaged triple-doubles because nobody in NBA history has played harder every single jackhammer dribble than Russell Westbrook. He's the best 6'3". I'm not even sure he's that tall. That's what they list him as. Best 6'3" rebounder ever. Just an explosively athletic terror of a rebounder, especially offensive rebounder. But he's also as egomaniacal as any player ever. Always driven more to stat and star than to make winning plays. Russell Westbrook has always played exceptionally hard, without conscience, without remorse, without memory, without perspective. He's played hard for Russ. Weirdly, and you can laugh at this if you want, but it's almost like he selfishly fed teammates just to achieve triple doubles. He wasn't a big assist guy to start with, but he learned if I drive it, just crazy drive it, get to the rack, and then just leave it on the floor for one of my bigs, and they dunk it, I get one in the assist column. Oh, okay. So he was achieving triple doubles by launching himself for rebounds and leaving balls on the floor for bigs to dunk to achieve all-time fame as a triple-double artist. And remember, his triple-double teams all lost in the first round of the playoffs. All lost and had a combined playoff record, the triple-double teams, of 5-16, losing in the first round. That's where the triple doubles got those teams. 2 in OKC, 1 in Washington. So I have a question for you. How many first ballot Hall of Famers were on 5 teams in 6 seasons? Russell Westbrook has now been on 5 in the last 6 seasons. That's because he led the NBA in turnovers 4 times, and he was second 4 times. And that's because career, he's a 30.5% three-point shooter, 30.5 as a point guard. And that's because Russell Westbrook has been under 70% from the free throw line in 6 of the last 7 years. So he's shooting in the 60% from the free throw line. Those are Hacker Russ numbers. Nobody's tried that, not yet. But those are like 7-footer numbers. Those are like Mitchell Robinson. It's like hack a Shaq, hack a whoever. It's like hack a Russ kind of numbers from the free throw line, and he's a point guard. Somebody explain this to me. How does he get away with this? Remember when LeBron and Anthony Davis campaigned, we got to go get Russ. You're blinded by the triple-double light, gentlemen. I said so. I first guessed it. So he comes in that year for the Los Angeles Lakers, back in Russ's hometown. His dream came true. He's playing at the Crypt, downtown Los Angeles, and that year he shot 29.8% from three. That was the worst in the league. And he was second that year in turnovers. And that was the year he and his wife got mad at me for, again, calling him Westbrook. And I kept saying, well, make some threes and I won't call you Westbrook. 29.8%, worst in the league. And after that season ended, LeBron James and Anthony Davis campaigned to get Russ out of LA. And at the next trade deadline, he was gone. And as you know, Ty Lue and the Clippers eventually said no more to Russ, more trouble than worth. And this year, I got to tell you, I was shocked when Joker in Denver started campaigning to go get Russell Westbrook, another superstar blinded by the triple-double light. Can't you see past the triple-doubles and the hard-playing Russ? Yet Denver did sign slam dunk first ballot Hall of Famer to a deal that was worth only $3.3 million this year. This is Russell Westbrook, and $3.5 as a player option next year. So you say, well, that was a low risk, right? Well, not to me, because it's just a flat out risk. Not worth a dime to me. Speaking of dimes. So this year, coming off the bench for the Denver Nuggets, Russell Westbrook played 28 minutes a game, 75 games. He averaged 3.2 turnovers a game. That was sixth in the NBA. Yet the five players above him were all starters playing much higher minutes. It's Trae Young, James Harden, Cade Cunningham, LeBron, and Ant-Man. So Russ led the league in turnovers per minute, even as a sixth or seventh man. You guys like that? Joker, Jamal, do you guys like the fact that he was shooting 32% this year from three and 66% from the free throw line? Did that help you or hurt you? So we just watched Russ in 7 playoff games against his original team, OKC. And in those 7 games, Russ shot 21.9% from three. You guys like that? Man, I don't get it. Then, fittingly, Sunday's Game 7. What goes around came all the way back around to Russ back in his old stomping grounds in OKC. Denver was up 11 with 5:07 left in the first quarter. I'm a little shaky at that point. Aaron Gordon was playing. Don't tell me that's an excuse for Denver, because he played. He also had a game-high 11 rebounds. Thought he played very well early on. But at that mark, 5:07, they're up 11. That's when Russ was first inserted into the game. And right on schedule, guess what happened? Russ proceeded to play 22 minutes the rest of the game, 22 total minutes, and was a minus 34. That's the 4th worst plus minus by a bench player since the stat originated 30 years ago, the 4th worst in a playoff game. That game, fittingly, turned the moment Russ stepped on that court. And over the final 5 minutes of the first quarter, remember, Denver was up 11. Russ had 2 turnovers, and they were really bad. They were comical. And he missed a layup. Couldn't finish a layup at the rim. Wild hands. And Oklahoma City cut the lead to 5 after the first quarter. Then Oklahoma City won the final 3 quarters by a combined 104-67. Russ changed the game. Thank you, Russ. I seriously wonder if Denver will want him back next year, even though they do owe him $3.5 million for next year. Is it possible that Russell Westbrook played his final NBA game Sunday in Oklahoma City? Would a 6th team in 7 years want him next season as he turns 37 years of age? I've said this before, and I'll go to my grave saying it. Russell Westbrook would not be in my Hall of Fame. I get the triple doubles, but man, the shooting and the turnovers, just cancel them out. Just disqualify him from Hall of Fame, slam dunk, first ballot. I will never forget, after the first half of Game 2 of the 2012 Finals in OKC, my hometown, I was there. Magic Johnson, working for ABC, called Russell Westbrook's first half, that's Game 2's first half, the worst half of a finals game he'd ever seen a point guard play. Magic said that. Russ shot 2 of 10 in that first half. No point guard ever knew how to win better than Earvin Magic Johnson, who invented winning time for the Showtime Lakers. And Magic was offended by how selfishly Russ played in that first half, by how little feel he had for making winning plays. And he said so on national TV, did Magic Johnson. And that night, after LeBron's Heat tied the series 1-1, I honestly, I was happy I wasn't rooting for my hometown team. I was actually happy when LeBron James won his first ring by beating my Thunder in 5 games. And by the way, in those 2012 finals, think about this. Future first ballot Hall of Famer Russell Westbrook went 3 of 22 from 3. That's 13.6%. That told you all you needed to know about what was to come from Russell Westbrook. Now, before I get to my third reason that I couldn't love those 2012 Thunder, before I get to James Harden, remember, please, Square keeps up, so you don't have to slow down. Get everything you need to run and grow your business without any long-term commitments. Why wait? Right now, you can get up to $200 off Square hardware at square.com/go/my last name. My first name, Skip. That's square.com/go/SKIP. So you can run your business smarter with Square. And by the way, we're surrounded out here in our Century City neighborhood in West LA by establishments that use Square. There's Blue Bottle Coffee, and there's La Colombe and Century City Mall. They use Square. So does Clark Street in Brentwood, which I drive by on the way to my golf course. That's square.com/go/SKIP me. So, of course, back to James Harden. He did come off the bench for those 2012 Thunder. Was he ever a spectacular scorer of the basketball? Good Lord, have mercy. Stepping back into threes and then slithering through defenses to get to the rim or to the free throw line. I'd never seen anything quite like him, yet once the Thunder did make it all the way to the finals, Harden pretty much disappeared in those 2012 finals against the Miami Heat, just faded into the background, shot only 37.5% from the floor. That's not good. Only 32% from three when he was a 40% three-point shooter. But nobody really noticed. Nobody really cared because, well, he was the sixth man. But everybody noticed when Thunder management and ownership opted not to pay any luxury tax for James Harden and let James Harden go to Houston. What? You're letting a potential MVP walk? Yep, they let him walk. And James did win that MVP, 2017, is gifted a 6'5" score as I've ever seen. He's 6'5". He doesn't look that tall, doesn't play that tall, but a man with such skill, such high basketball IQ that he later in his career was able to lead the NBA in assists. Whew. But as James Harden now nears 36 years of age in August, I must admit what I'm going to remember most about James Harden's career are his many playoff flameouts. And how can I ever forget the way he quit his way out of Houston to get to Brooklyn, and then he quit his way out of Brooklyn to get to Philadelphia? Those are the things I will unfortunately remember most, because James Harden turned into the ultimate superstar you cannot trust in big playoff games. Tell me I'm wrong, please. James Harden has now lost game 7s with 4 teams. That's hard to do. And he's now 2-11 in his last 13 playoff elimination games. That's hard to do. So how can I ever forget his all-time playoff game record of 12 turnovers in a 2015 closeout game at Golden State? Do you remember that? 12 turnovers in that closeout game. Or who will ever, especially in Houston, forget the closeout game he played in 2017 against the Spurs without Kawhi, without Tony Parker, that night in Houston? James Harden's Rockets lost 114-75 as he went 2 of 11 from the floor and 2 of 9 from three with 6 turnovers and 6 fouls. He was gone. Then how about the Game 6 and Game 7 he played in Philadelphia against Boston? Remember those 2 games? 6 and 7. Could have won the series in 6, then had a Game 7 at Boston. And in those 2 games combined, James Harden went 7 of 27 from the floor. That's hard to do. And 1 of 11 from 3 with 10 turnovers in 2 games. He was a combined minus 40 in 2 games. That's James Harden. So you see, that 2012 finals was an ominous sign of what was to come. When I think back on James Harden's career, I think of out of shape, I think of overweight, I think of loving the nightlife. James Harden would be the last star I'd ever say about he has that dog in him. I would never think that or say that about James Harden because he just never did. His recent Game 7 against the Nuggets, remember that? James Harden scored 7 total points. He went 2 of 8 from the floor, 1 of 4 from 3, but he did have 13 assists as the Clippers lost by 19. That's James Harden. This current Thunder team that I love so much is everything James Harden never was. All for one, one for all. This Thunder team plays hellacious defense, something James Harden never even considered playing. Whew. Now to these Thunder. These Oklahoma City Thunder have reinvented how to win an NBA championship. They made me look silly in Game 7. Well, I said before the game, they're just going to have to shoot better than 32%, which they'd shot through the first 6 games from 3, 32% from 3. And in Game 7, they shot 31% from 3, and they won by 32 points. I did not see that coming. I am now enlightened. I can see clearly now, Thunder. The Thunder's superpower stat is pot, not smoking pot, which grows plentifully in my home state of Oklahoma. No, I'm talking about POT, points off turnovers. Look, Denver is a very good defensive team, a very good, obviously, ball handling and passing team, thanks in large part to Joker. Yet in POT, points off turnovers, Oklahoma City over 7 games outscored Denver 190-116 in POT. Denver went to pot because of POT, points off turnovers. The Thunder disrupt, they deflect, they steal, and they go flying up the court for Thunder dunks. Did you see 6'3" Cason Wallace, all of 21 years of age, posterized 7-footer Joker? That was the statement play of Game 7. That's who the Thunder are. That's what they do. That's how they do it. Points off turnovers are why Oklahoma City is in another league from everybody else, why they're steamrolling, why they're about to juggernaut the Timberwolves. So moments after Game 7, I did say Oklahoma City in 7 over Minnesota, and then I started looking deeper, studying what happened during the regular season. And I started to think more deeply about Ant-Man's playoff or way off performances. Too often he's been Campman. Thunder in 6. I will revise. Oklahoma City would have won 3 of the 4 regular season games, but the last 2 times they played back in February was this bizarre back-to-back that I don't really understand why they would schedule. But the first night was in Minnesota as the Thunder won 130-123 as SGA outscored Ant-Man 37-29. But the very next night, they had to play back-to-back the same 2 teams in Oklahoma City. And would you believe the Thunder led by 24 with 10:50 left in the game? By 24. And Timberwolves coach Chris Finch just said, I've seen enough of Ant-Man. You're out. Come over here and sit by me. Pulled a couple other starters. And he went with the rookies, Terrence Shannon, Rob Dillingham. And the Thunder took their foot off the gas, and the T-Wolves miraculously came from 24 down to force overtime. Finch didn't put Ant-Man back in the game until there was 140 left in overtime. He didn't even start him in overtime. And Ant-Man did have a game-saving block of an SGA basket attack very late in overtime, but Ant-Man did not score in overtime or in the fourth quarter. Minnesota stole that game by 3. I watched every dribble of it, unfortunately. So, Thunder, Timberwolves did split their regular season games 2-2. But in those 4 games, just for the record, SGA, who will be MVP, he averaged 35, 7, and 7 in the 4 games against Minnesota to Ant-Man's 22, 9, and 6. As Campman shot only 36% from the floor and 32% from 3. Remember, from 3, he led the NBA in three-point makes. He shot 32%, 4 games against the Thunder. This OKCD stands for devastating. Ask Joker, ask Jamal. Or see for yourself when the Western Conference Finals commence. So meanwhile, in those 4 regular season games, SGA against Minnesota shot 51%, from the floor and 56% from three. He's not even a great three-point shooter. 56% he shot from three in the 4 games. So my money, or I should say my hometown pride, is definitely on OKC. What do I remember most about last year's conference finals? I remember Baby Jordan, Ant-Man, struggling in fourth quarters of those 5 games. One night against the Mavericks, Ant-Man actually hyperventilated in the fourth quarter and needed to go up the tunnel and get some oxygen. Can you imagine Michael Jordan ever hyperventilating in the fourth quarter of a playoff game and needing oxygen? I can't. I'm sorry. I covered Jordan. I know Jordan. I can't. The Mavericks wiped out those T-Wolves last year in 5 games, mainly because the Mavs won games 1 and 2 in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, as Baby Jordan shot 11 for 33 in those 2 games. And after the one game that they did win in the conference finals last year, Anthony Edwards actually said on live television, "I finally figured out how to play a fourth quarter tonight." The T-Wolves won that one game out of the 5, despite Anthony Edwards' 6 turnovers in that one game. But he did play well in that fourth quarter as they won by 5. I mean, I got to tell you, I do like Anthony Edwards. I like him a lot as a guy, even though he's in every other TV commercial. Why dunk so much? The young man has said he does not want to be the face of the NBA. And I find him surprisingly humble and self-critical and receptive to hard coaching. Check, check, check. Like what he's made of as a young man. This year, in these playoffs, after the T-Wolves lost another game 1 at home, remember that one? It was 99-88 to Golden State, with Steph pulling his hamstring after scoring 13 points in just 13 minutes. But then Steph was gone, and they still lost at home. And Coach Finch blasted Anthony Edwards after that game for his lack of energy and urgency. Coach Finch said, "You're the leader of the team. You've got to come out and set the tone," said Coach Finch publicly, calling out his superstar. And Ant-Man just took it. And Ant-Man responded, "He's right. That's what I've got to do." So, forgive me, I just can't get real worked up about the T-Wolves winning the next 4 games against Golden State with no Steph Curry. And I really can't work up much fear of the T-Wolves when their leader and their best player, age 23, Anthony Edwards, still doesn't seem sure of himself. Is he really that guy when it's time to be that guy? I know he can jump out of the gym. I know he can shoot it from 3, but can he do it when it's time? I mean, really, really time. I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just showed you he can do it when it was time against Denver in Game 7, heck, in Game 6. He can do it against Joker and Jamal, those war horses, those road warriors, in what I believe was the NBA Finals. I believe Ant-Man has been overhyped and overrated. And you know what? I believe he'd tell you the same thing. He's not yet ready for that much pressure and that much expectation. And here come those defensive demons, that juggernaut from OKC, looking to run you, Ant-Man, out of the building. So I say I'm going to say SGA over Cant-Man. I got the Thunder in 6. As much respect as I have for Julius Randle and Naz Reid and Mike Conley Jr., on and on. Thunder in 6. Thunder over Knicks or Pacers in 5. quick thought. Life in general can be chaotic, but if you're in charge of order filling for an e-commerce business, you know that's its own special kind of chaos. But with ShipStation, you can count on your day-to-day remaining calm. Save hours, save money every month by shipping from all your stores with one login, automating repetitive tasks, and finding the best rates among all the global carriers. Calm the chaos with the shipping software that delivers. Switch to ShipStation today. Go to shipstation.com/skip to sign up for your free trial. That's shipstation.com/ my first name, Skip, S-K-I-P. Now, final word. Quick sip of Breakfast of Champions. Final word about my knee-jerk Cowboys prediction that just off a first glance at their schedule the other night, I could see them going 13-4 next year. Now, I'm not ready to put that in concrete. I have to see what they look like in camp and in the preseason, how long it takes to get Micah signed, probably all the way to game one. And yes, I know better than anybody that if you have a running back by committee, you probably don't have much of a running game. I get that. You're right about that. I'm right about that. And I know that our offensive line could, especially early in the season after it's lost so much Hall of Fame talent and experience, it could just be offensive, at least for a while. And I definitely know Dak is back at quarterback, which is the ultimate good news, bad news. And I know that Shoddy is now our head coach, a classic Jerry puppet hire, a 51-year-old son of a famed head coach, Marty Schottenheimer, who had never been offered a head coaching job until now. He's 51. I don't get that. No doubt Shoddy will soon have an I in the middle of it in many internet comments I see as the games start to unfold. I get it. You're right. I get it right between the eyes. But that night that the schedule hit the internet, I was lifting weights. I was really into it. I glanced down at the new Cowboys schedule that popped up on my phone, and I scanned down the games. And okay, I'll admit, as a lifelong diehard Dallas Cowboy fan, I do get sick and tired of being sick and tired of Jerry Jones. And maybe that night the endorphins went straight to my brain and I just lost it for a moment. But I'm here to tell you, I do honestly love the way this schedule sets up for my Dallas Cowboys. I do. Straight up. I love the high-risk, sky-high reward that George Pickens pickup. I know what he is. I know. He's a diva, hot-headed, thin-skinned. I know, but listen, I do love our second-round steal of a pick for Donovan E. for electricity. This young man will immediately be productive with his natural-born knack for the sack. He just gets to the quarterback. I believe he'll immediately light a new fire under Micah, will drive Micah, inspire Micah, maybe even outperform Micah. So we start on opening night, and seriously, if you're going to play at Philadelphia on any given night, pick opening night. It's banner raising night. They're the defending champs. I picked them before last year to win it all, and they backed me up. But you know what happens on banner night, even though Jerry's going to have to sit through it, get his nose rubbed in it, it's distracting. You're kind of focused on what you did as opposed to what you have to do, and your emotions get mixed on an opening night. The banner gets raised, and oh yeah, we got to do it again? Really? I gave you this stat when I posted a video about this. Dak's played 6 times at Philadelphia. He's thrown 10 touchdowns to no interceptions and not lost a single fumble in Philadelphia. He likes playing there. He plays really well there. These aren't playoff games. These are regular season games. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if Dallas pulled off an upset, but I said in my prediction that they will lose that game, but that they'll cover. It's 7 points right now. Philly favored by 7. I'd take the 7 and run with it right now, but I wouldn't be shocked if they won it. But whatever, I think we'll play very well in that game. It will springboard us up into the next game. It'll be a home opener, Giants at home. We've won 15 of the last 16 against the Giants. I am not afraid of Russell Wilson at this stage and age. Win. Then we go to the Bears, September 21st. It'll be a warmer weather game. I just think we're better than the Bears, even with their new head coach and their second-year quarterback. I think we win that game. Then here comes Green Bay to Jerry World. Okay, we've suffered enough. They've shamed us enough at home. We were down 27-0 2 years ago in the playoff game at home to Green Bay, to Jordan Love and company. I just think after a while, the odds are with us to finally say, it's time. That's enough. We're going to get revenge. We're going to win tonight. On Sunday night, we're going to show the world we can finally beat Green Bay at home, win. Then we go to the Jets. It's Justin Fields at quarterback, I presume. Last year at Pittsburgh, he threw for a grand total of 131 yards against us. We can beat Justin Fields, win. We go to Carolina. I believe in Bryce Young. I've defended Bryce Young, but come on. We win that game. We're just better. Then here would come Washington at home. And if we, by my prediction, if we'd won 5 in a row and here comes Washington, I say we win this game. It's our arch rival, historical archest rival. Jaden Daniels was magnificent, greatest rookie quarterback ever. I just might pick Washington to win it all this year. But I just got a feeling if we've won 5 in a row with that kind of momentum and we had played well at Philadelphia, I think we win that game. But then we go to Denver, and I'm going to be objective here. I think I'll give us an L, even though it is Bo Nix, sophomore slump. I don't know. You never know. But I'll say at Denver, that's a hard one to win, L. Now it's Arizona, Monday night at home. Little Kyler Murray has played so big every time he goes back home to the Dallas area where he grew up, especially on a Monday night. But come on, we're better than Arizona. If we're rolling, like I think we'll be, we're going to win that game. Then we get a perfectly timed bye week, and then it's on to the Raiders, another Monday night game. I assume Geno's their quarterback. I know Shadur's not going to be their quarterback. We beat Geno 2 years ago on a Thursday night at Jerry World. I just think we can beat him again. I just think we're better than the Raiders. Right here, right now, we're better. Then I've had several friends text me about, look at that stretch. You guys are going to get slaughtered for 6 straight games because you got to play 6 straight playoff teams from last year. It's Philly, Kansas City, Detroit, Minnesota, Chargers, at Washington. Okay. So once again, if we're 8-2 at that point, and Dak is still healthy, that's always a big if. This is just me. I think we can beat Philly at home. This is at home. 9-2. And this is just me. I've said this and backed it up repeatedly on this show. We can beat Patrick Mahomes at home on Thanksgiving. I mean, look at his numbers over the last 2 years. They're sliding, sinking into the sunset. So hard for Super Bowl losers to bounce back. I know he did, and they did after they lost to Brady. But I don't know. I'm giving us a big dub there. I'm sorry. And then we go to Detroit. We're going to lose at Detroit. That's on a Thursday night. They're better. I give you that. But look, we're going to beat J.J. McCarthy as a first-year starter for the Minnesota Vikings. That's in Jerry World. I just think we can beat J.J. We might have to beat him 6-3 because that Viking defense just might be the best in football. But I think we can win 6-3. And as much as I love Jim Harbaugh, I don't love Justin Herbert. And I believe we can beat Justin Herbert at home just as a couple of years back we beat him out here in LA. And then we got at Washington on Christmas. That's a big L, as they just might be, by that point, rolling toward a Super Bowl. Merry Christmas, Commanders. Then we close it out by beating Jackson Dart at Giants. We can do that, right? I'm sorry, that's 13-4. You can call me crazy if you so please. I mean, the Cowboys over-under for wins is 9.5, and I'm going to 13. So right now, go to fanduel.com/skip and bet that over. That's fanduel.com/my name, Skip. And I'm sure a lot of you would like to /skip right now. That's it for this episode. Thanks to Tyler Korn for producing, to Ernestine for overseeing, and to Hazel for approving.